in the camera, but all right, thanks for Okay friends, I am here with Coco Daisy using the absolutely stunning March Tree Top Canopy collection to make this layout. So this is a picture of my husband. We went to Mexico for our first year anniversary in 2012 and we met a little monkey, and I can't remember his name for the life of me, but I thought that this picture, since March is his birthday month, would be absolutely perfect for a layout celebrating the Tree Top Canopy collection, which has a lot of fun little tropical creatures, a sloth, a monkey. So I used mostly the monkeys from this collection, you can see one here with the rub-ons, to create this sort of corner embellished 12 by 12 layout. So I'm going to jump into my process in a second, but I'll show you a little bit of what I did. So I stitched around the edges. So in order to bring this layout using the theme of around the edges together, what I did was I cut this monkey picture, but then I cut 1-inch strips around the sides here, and I embroidered in between each side. I did the background with some Distress Oxide inks that were in my stash, and I embellished it. So without further ado, let's jump into the video and see how this came together. Thanks for watching, friends. Okay, so I have chosen these 4 Distress Oxides: Mowed Lawn, Stormy Sky, Rustic Wilderness, and Mermaid Lagoon. And I am going, and I have this old stencil. This is not from Coco Daisy. It is a swirl stencil that I felt went well with the fun, whimsical nature of the papers in the kit. So I am going to go ahead and get the Distress Oxides down. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to start with the darkest one and then the green, and then go layer them down. And Distress Oxides are really good. I am still kind of really learning how to do this, but basically what you're going to do is just very lightly, you're blending them together. So you're just kind of very lightly putting it on the page. Excuse me, putting it on the stencil. So this stencil is old, and I didn't really store it well to begin with, so it's kind of hard to, it's getting old. It's getting up there. So you can see that this one is a little broken. Okay. Alright, so then I'm going to take the next one, or I think I started with the lighter one actually, because I think Rustic Wilderness is a little bit darker, but okay, that's fine. And then I'm just going to go over and I'm blending them together a little bit here. So I'm starting on the top here, and then I'm bringing it down a little bit more. Alright, that's it for the greens, and I'm going to start with the more muted blue, which is called Stormy Sky here. Remember, I'm just running it over the old one a little bit because I'm blending it, or the green, the last green, because I'm blending them together and then bringing it into the new one. And this stencil is a little bit of a pain in the butt. I have some stencil glue, which I really should have used. Alright, so I went a little bit over the stencil, but I'm okay with that. I like the kind of mess of it. Alright, so now I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. and I'm going to work on some other projects while it dries, but you guys will see the next step right away in the video. But alright, so and I just taped the stencil down with washi tape. I don't know if I said that, so there you go. That came out really fun and really pretty, so I like how that came out. Alright, on to the next step. Okay friends, welcome back. So my Distress Oxide is done, and I am ready to proceed with the rest of the layout. So what I'm doing is I am going to layer paper in the corners, and I'm debating if I cut this monkey out from the planner paper or in the memory keeping classified kit paper, and I'm debating if I'm going to keep him in there. But okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with the paper by cutting 1-inch strips. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this one aside for now, is I am going to layer the strips. I'm leaving a little space because I'm going to do some embroidering in between the strips. Okay, so I gotta glue this down. So now I'm playing around with how I'm gonna finish this up. So what I'm doing is I'm gluing this down here, and I am going to glue this down. Okay, so the next part of this layout is I am going to do some paint splatter here. So I need to, what I did was I took the picture, I laid it out where I want it to go, down here. I am going to cover this up because I am going to put some embellishments kind of in a triangle right here, so I'll get some there. But I am going to do some paint splatter around the page coming down here just to kind of break up the monotony, and then I am going to come back and stitch in between here. So let me turn this video off and let me restart and reset up to get the paint splatter done, and then I'll let that dry. Okay, so the paint that I'm using is called Bad and Tattered. It's from a company called Bad Girls Couture. It's an acrylic paint. It's not in the Cocoa Daisy kits, it's just in my stash. So it's a black sort of charcoal paint, and the reason why I'm choosing such a bold color is because I want to break up the color a little bit in this layout. So I'm just dipping it in water, dipping it in, and I'm just splattering it around. So I'm just doing I know where my picture's going, so my picture's going here, so I kind of want it some over here because I want to be able to see it. So again, just a little bit of paint, tiny dab of water, and that's it. But I mainly want it up in the top left and the bottom right. Alright, so I'm going to let this dry, and I will meet you back here when it's done, when it's dry. Okay, so the paint is dry. This Bad Girls Couture paint dries pretty fast. And what I'm doing next is I am taking, I'm going to embroider using one of the greens, or maybe a gray. No, I think I'm going to do the green. Stick with the green. Alright, so I'm going to embroider. So I'm going to go off camera for this mostly, but I'm going to punch holes in. That's why I left it a little, there's a little space so I can put holes in here to embroider along each way, just to give some more texture to this. So I am laying down my ruler and I'm going to do every 1/2 inch here. So I just got a paper piercer, which seems to be a little bent. I don't know how that happened. I think I'm going to use it anyway. Alright, so I'm going to grab my needle here. This bag. My thread. Alright, I'm going to show you guys how I do one of them, one of the smaller ones, and then I'm going to turn off the video until and come back when it's done. Threading the needle is always the hardest part, and I have a needle threader, but... Alright, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm just doing a running stitch, so I'm going to start from the back. Can you see this? Alright, so I'm going to start from the back, pull it all the way through, try not to get knotted like I just did. There we go. And I used washi for mostly right now just to tape things down, so I'm just going to put a little piece of washi on the back here to hold it down. It's a thinner washi. This is the March kit from last year. So the washi's going to hold it in place. You can also knot it. I just find it easier to use washi. Alright, and so you're just going to go in one hole, come out the other. It's just a quick running stitch. Because it ended and I didn't have a hole to go back in, I'm just going to pull it over along the side there and tape it down. There we go. And now I'm going to start with the next one. And with this one I'm going to turn off the video and come back once I have this all done. Alright? Okay, I'm done embroidering the edges, and now I'm going to go ahead and embellish it. So I know I'm going to use some so what I'm doing really now is I'm pulling together some, I'm pulling out some of the embellishments that I think I might use, and definitely going to use some of these. I'm going to go through the die cuts and then come back and figure out. So my what I'm doing is I'm going to embellish over here a little bit, and up here just to get rid of that little part. So, but kind of like a triangle sort of shape of around here, just to kind of get rid of, or not get rid of, mimic this sort of triangle here. So usually what I do with my die cuts is I take all of the die cuts from the kits that I get and I put them all in together. So I combine them. I could actually combine all of my kits. And the planner kit came with, the main planner kit came with this super cute little pouch, so it's perfect to hold the die cuts. So now I'm just going through and picking out some of the die cuts that will work. Alright, I'm stapling down, I'm using my tiny attacher to staple down this All Smiles on there. And I'm going to next, before I put the die cuts on, I'm going to pop up using pop dots from my stash. I'm going to pop up the picture, which is going to give it some dimension. Alright, so there are rub-ons in this kit this month. So, this is how you do the rub-ons. You figure out which one you want, and then you're going to cut it out. So here, I'm going to put this little monkey right here. You want to cut it out because you want to make sure that you only are rubbing on the rub-on that you are using. Okay. So this little guy is going to go right here. Alright, so then what I usually do is I press it down. So I'm sort of rubbing it on a little bit already. But I press it down and then you very carefully want to rub it on. So I do it 2 to 3 times, and you can usually see through it. You can usually see through to see that it's rubbed on. It's gonna, like, it's hard to see here, but I can see the plastic coming up from the actual rub-on itself. Alright, so when it's all done, you very carefully pick up the plastic piece. There you go. I think I'm going to pull this just relax. Oh, he's stuck down. Alright. Alright, now this one's going to be a little bit hard because I've got it's going right over the stitching, but just gotta have a little bit more patience with it. Alright, so now you see loosely this is like a triangle, sort of. to kind of mimic this area. Alright, so now I'm just going to clean up my space quickly. The last thing I want to put on here is a few little pop dots here. Or enamel dots is what they're called. So I just like to throw, I like the real small ones. That's it. The last thing I gotta do is sign it, and I'm going to do that. Alright, so I usually find a place to sign it where it needs a little boost. And there you go. There you go, my friends. That is there you go. Sorry about that finger in the camera, but alright, thanks for hanging out and watching with me. Take care. That finger in the camera, but alright, thanks for hanging out and watching with me. Take care. That finger in the camera, but alright, thanks for hanging out and watching with me. Take care. That finger in the camera, but alright, thanks for